What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Sci Fi Bookery. I'm Josh, and today we're going to talk about some damn dirty apes. It is the 55th anniversary of the original release of the Planet of the Apes movie, and I wanted to talk to you about this book right here. This is Planet of the Apes Visionaries, and this is the original script as a graphic novel written by Rod Serling. Now, this was adapted by, right here, Dana Gould, artwork by Chad Lewis, which I really enjoyed the artwork in this graphic novel in particular. But the best part is the story. So this is Rod Serling's original script for the Planet of the Apes movies. Now, when he got together with Michael Wilson to actually script the movie, Michael Wilson had a bunch of additions, made the apes more of an archaic society, more like a Stone Age society, but they also had weapons and stuff like that, and some minor technology, but it was mostly religious based. Whereas in this book, it is much more high technology, more modern times, for when it was written in the 60s, and the apes drive cars, they live in houses and buildings, they go to work, as you can see here, buses, and they wear suits and stuff like that. So it is a much more advanced society than we see in the movie. I really enjoyed that part of it. But also the formatting is a lot different. So it starts very similarly to the movie, but there's much less action in this original script. And I think that's probably where the movie was going, since it is sort of an action-based movie. And you see all the subsequent movies also being very action-based, as opposed to science fiction, whereas this is much more based in science fiction, based in different kinds of theories and different ways of the apes behaving that plays along to that science fiction base in this book. So Rod Serling, if you don't know, he is the genius behind the Twilight Zone and a ton of other things that he's done. He's the master of the surprise ending, I would say. And in this book, he shows that. You know, the seeing the original script shows that. I mean, he really is the master of this sort of science fiction, mind bending sort of way of writing, and that is all very relevant in this book here. Like I said, the apes are more civilized, they're more human-like, which I think in the movie they are very much more ape-like. They talk and they do human things, but in this they're basically hairy humans. So that's a big difference there. But all of this, like with them being more modernized and more civilized, I guess you could say, it makes sense because the plot behind the story, it's about humanity, and it's about, you know, like our unwillingness to accept things outside of the norm. And I think that works better with this setting, with more of a modern setting, whereas they're more archaic in the movie. So the acceptance of somebody wearing a spacesuit is kind of where that plays in. Whereas this is the opposite, where, you know, the people come in all jacked up. I mean, they're still wearing spacesuits. The beginning is still the same. But it's a little bit different because of that, because it does take place in a more modern, human-like society. But the whole point of the story is that are we any different than animals in the way that we accept new things, in the way that we accept new people into our fold, in the way that we are accepting of different cultures and things like that? Like, are we really any different than animals? And that was kind of the point of the movie, and this book, I think, touches on it a little bit better. But the other part is, this is more based on nuclear war, and because of the time, I mean, this was digging into the Cold War era when this story was written. It was like 1966, I believe this was written. So it was like just getting into the Cold War. People were afraid of nuclear war. So this deals more with nuclear war, whereas the movie, I think, it wouldn't have made sense because this is, again, more of a modern society. But there were still weapons in the movie, modern weapons, guns and stuff like that. So it's like you got the guns, you make the rules, and the theme is still there where the absolute power corrupts absolutely. So the apes thought that they were better than man, and so they wielded their power in that way. Whereas man thinks we're better than apes in this current time right now, so we wield our power in that way against animals, against anything that we believe is lower than us. Whereas the apes were wielding their power against humans because they believed that they were lower than them, and that was all based in their religious beliefs too. So there's a lot of that too that goes on in here, which I thought was really good that continued, because that like absolute power corrupts absolutely theme is so good, because the powerful ones never think that they're corrupted. And I love that theme throughout a lot of different science fiction too. I also think that this book is a little more psychological than the movies. Like I mentioned, the movies were a little more action based. I think that this book is a little more psychological. It really makes you think, and it's got more of a multifaceted approach than the movies did too. So I don't know. I think that's probably another reason why I like this story a little better. The other thing that's really cool about this particular version, I'm going to try not to spoil anything by showing you stuff, but they have a lot of different back matter in this one, showing, you know, the way that they drew these, the evolution of the cover. Here's Dr. Zaius. You can see it's more of a modern approach to these characters, the way that they're dressed. There's Zero wearing an actual dress. There's Thomas. I love the spacesuit design in this one too, with like the ribbed arms and the knee pads and stuff like that. Let me see if I can show you some more of this artwork. So here's the Ape City where they live, and then these ideas were brought into later movies, but just talking about the original story in the original movie, those ideas were not in there. So that is Planet of the Apes Visionaries, the original Rod Serling script for a Planet of the Apes movie. I would recommend this to any Planet of the Apes fans, or any really any sci-fi fans. I think anybody sci-fi would appreciate it. The artwork is, like I said, the artwork is really beautiful, much more modern, and the story is fantastic. Some of Rod Serling's greatest work. So highly recommended. So congratulations, happy 55th anniversary to the Planet of the Apes movie. I'm Josh, this is the Sci Fi Bookery. We'll see you next time.